In 1986, a series of newspaper articles on the alarming number of teen pregnancies in Hong Kong deeply moved two young couples. Instead of looking to others to do something about it, they had the courage to ask themselves, what can we do? Despite having young families and limited resources, they quickly rolled up their sleeves. With their heart for service, love for the city of Hong Kong, and support from many volunteers in the community, they founded Mother's Choice in 1987. Join me on this virtual tour to learn more about the story of Mother's Choice. We'll visit our offices, 3 of which are government buildings more than 100 years old, and we'll meet some truly special people along the way. We'll start first at 42B Kennedy Road, which is affectionately called Monty. This location is where we provide a safe, loving and non-judgmental place for girls facing a crisis pregnancy, so that they know that they do not have to face their crisis alone.
So Alia, a lot of people think that Mother's Choice is the child care home, but from what I understand, that Mother's Choice actually started here in Montgomery Building. Can you tell us more about this place?
You know, this is a really special building because this is actually the first location of Mother's Choice. You know, Mother's Choice was started in 1987 after the co-founders had read a series of articles in 1986 about the alarming number of young women in our city who are really in their early teen years, who are facing crisis pregnancy, who were so shunned and ostracized by our community that they felt forced to go over the border into China for late-term abortions. And that's what really inspired Mother's Choice at the very beginning, to provide really a safe place, a refuge where young girls can come and be embraced into a relationship with a trusting and caring adult, where they could be equipped to really know what their options were so that they could make an informed and timely decision, and also so that young girls could be empowered. You know, oftentimes a crisis pregnancy for a teenager isn't really the problem. It's a symptom of much bigger issues in their life. And we really want to see these young girls be able to have hope, to know their own value and worth and significance, and be able to have a good future. So even today, this is still where our Pregnant Girls Hostel is. So for our most dangerous and challenging cases, girls that don't have a safe place to live, they come and live with us here in this building. And I'd love to share with you just one story of a young girl who came to live with us this last year. Her story really impacted my heart, and I did get her permission to share this story with you, but I am gonna change her name just to protect her. So I'm gonna call her Summer. But Summer came to us this summer at 19 years old, and she was pregnant with her second crisis pregnancy. And what struck me by Summer was when she started to tell me her story, I realized that her mom had been a teenage mother. And she was actually the eldest of 9 children, all of whom were placed into the residential care system from birth. Summer was never given the chance to be adopted. She moved from actually an abusive foster home to a large orphanage, and then to ultimately into a girls' home that was much like a juvenile delinquent center. And her behavior and also her physical problems, her learning difficulties grew and grew the longer she was without a family. Eventually, she became pregnant at 17 and then again at 19 with nobody to support her. The amazing thing about Summer is she actually decided that she wanted to give birth to her daughter, and she wanted to place her daughter for adoption. And the amazing thing is that Mother's Choice was able to be there for Summer and help her daughter be adopted, and really look at a good future for Summer, help her find a place to live and a job. But you know, it's so much more than just helping young women decide what to do with their pregnancy, but it's really about wrapping around them and just changing the whole trajectory of their life story.
Thanks for sharing that, Alia.
Though the founding service at Mother's Choice was supporting pregnant teens, the co-founders quickly realised the vital need to support vulnerable babies and children who are not yet in a safe, loving and permanent family. Despite the cosmopolitan image of Hong Kong, 1 in 5 children in the city lives in poverty, and tens of thousands of children are at risk of neglect, abuse and abandonment. At Mother's Choice, we are a champion for babies and children who are living in the residential care system.
So Alia, here we are in the Child Care Center, and I remember as a teenager walking here after school to volunteer with the babies. And even back then it was so warm and cozy. Tell me, how does Mother's Choice maintain that atmosphere?
Well, you know, there's a lot that we do to create a loving, family-like environment for the children that we care for. Not just here in our childcare home, but also for the many children who we're caring for in family-based care through our foster care programs across the city. But at the end of the day, no matter how loving and warm this environment is, it really should be a temporary solution. And what children really need is the security and the love that comes from a permanent family. I want to share with you the story of one little girl who came to us here at Mother's Choice during this past year, who really came with a lot of challenges and some pretty difficult diagnoses. But when our early intervention team really came around her and worked with doctors and nurses and all kinds of people, they were able to really see massive change in her life in just 6 short months. And now I can say that we have great hope that this little girl, her name is Ling Ling, is going to have a family.
At Mother's Choice, our professional team provides an assessment within 1 month of admission.
The early years are the important years when the development, everything counts. Their brains are still developing. So when you do something at that stage, they just like a sponge and they absorb and they remember and they practice and they improve.
When a child with special needs is living with their family, it is their parents' responsibility to educate themselves about that child's medical condition or disability so that they are in a position to advocate for their child. When a child doesn't have a family, it becomes no one's responsibility. Here at Mother's Choice, we are the family. It is our responsibility to advocate, support, represent and speak up for our children.
By working together, we not only change that one life story, we impact our own life stories, and in turn, we change our community and the generations that follow from them.
As a city, we need to broaden our definition of family. The cost and long-term impact of children growing up without a safe, loving, and permanent family is huge. Children face trauma that can negatively impact not only their entire lives, but also the generations that follow them. At Mother's Choice, we believe that family is defined by love and commitment, not just blood. When we become family to these children, young parents, and their families, it will transform our entire city. This is why the work of Mother's Choice is committed to breaking the vicious cycle.
So Alia, we're here in Kwun Tong, which I understand is one of Mother's Choice's 4 locations. Can you share with us about what happens in this office?
This is actually one of the most important offices at Mother's Choice because it's the first point of contact for almost all the clients across our 8 different frontline services. Now, our 8 different frontline services serve 4 main categories of clients. So our first is really children, and our children's services finds families for children who are in the residential care system because we believe that is what will change a child's life story, to grow up in a safe, permanent, and loving family. Now, the next category of clients that we serve are youth who are pregnant or who are at risk of becoming pregnant. And that's because we know that there is no such thing as a hopeless case. And actually, our biggest moments of crisis can become the biggest catalyst for positive change in our lives too. We also serve families. So Mother's Choice serves foster families, birth families, and we help build families through adoption. And what we do through our family services is equip parents with the knowledge and skills that they need for parenting, but we also connect them with community support, because we know that no one can go and face the lifelong journey of parenting alone. And finally, we have community services. And we very intentionally collaborate with community partners every year. We engage, we equip, we empower both individuals and other organizations across our city. And that's because we know that we all have a role to play, and it's only when we work together that we can see real sustainable change. So all of these services, serving all 4 categories of clients, they all exist to break the vicious cycle. So we want to capture a vulnerable person no matter where they are on that cycle, and break them out and see their whole life story changed. You know, I think some of my most favorite stories of life transformation and change are not just the stories of the clients that we serve, but actually the volunteers, the staff, the community members who partner together with us to invest in the lives of vulnerable children and young people and families. Especially some of my favorites are our foster moms.
我係阿 K 啦，我係一位寄養媽媽啦。咁我喺2016年嘅時候開始做寄養嘅。
My name is Claudia. I started my fostering journey in 2018.
我名咧叫 Cora， 咁我現在咧就係做緊寄養服務嘅。我做緊寄養服務已經有2年時間㗎啦。
新聞睇到一個報道嘅，咁當時嗰個報道咧就係講一個小朋友，即係佢因為冇住宿嘅服務啦，所以佢喺屋企咧就好不幸咁樣過身。咁我覺得當時我係好驚訝嘅，即係我想像唔到香港一個咁豐盛嘅城市啦，即係可以有呢啲嘅情況出現咯。
When I actually started looking into volunteering, I had no idea about fostering. I just felt that I wanted to give back to the community, and especially here in Hong Kong, which I feel like my second home.
我就去聽咗呢一個講座啦。咁呢個講座令我聽到咧，原來喺香港有差唔多100幾個小朋友咧係冇屋企返嘅。
我嘅每一日咧就好充實嘅。因為本身我自己都有2個小朋友啦，咁我亦都係有自己嘅生意嘅。呢個問題都好多人問我嘅，即係哇你咁忙，你仲湊到小朋友咩？咁我有時候都會問下自己呢個問題嘅。咁但係我諗好重要嘅就係我成日會提醒自己咧 ，I'm not alone。我有我身邊嘅好多人去支持我去做呢件事啦。
I didn't think I was eligible for it because I'm single and I work as well. Till one day I decided to join one of the info sessions. I got a lot of answers, as well as I got a lot of inspiring moments from the sharing of the other foster families. Number one assumption, you need a good team, and I have an amazing helper. You always need to remind yourself that there is a network around you.
諗我自己又冇小朋友，我就本身好中意小朋友㗎，即係以前咧我可能唔使諗咁多嘅，我只係純粹同個小朋友玩就得㗎啦。但係現在發現咧，如果做一個寄養媽媽咧，你真係要去好多方面幫佢去諗㗎。
尤其是譬如我係我個女啊，我細女為例啦，其實佢本身係一個好男仔頭嘅一個女仔嚟嘅，咁但係其實好開心，因為我見到佢同小朋友同啲 BB 去相處嘅時候咧，我睇到佢另外一面，即係我睇到佢一個好關心別人啊，好溫柔啊，好體貼嘅一面，係我之前我知佢本身有嘅，但我之前未必有留意到，咁所以我覺得做寄養咧，有寄養 BB 喺我哋屋企咧，係令到我哋每一個人都可以發揮到我哋裏面一啲嘅唔同嘅質素啊。
The first baby that I fostered, when I took her home from the hospital, she would cry without making any sound. Lying with like big tears rolling down her cheeks, not making any sound, and most of all, keeping her fist tightly closed at all times. It took several days until her voice came back, and then it never left. But most of all, the fist started to open up slowly, and then finally she sort of like reached out to my thumb and held it, because that was the moment where I really felt the power of love and how love can be transformative.
佢有一次咧，我就出去做嘢啊。咁我出去做嘢嘅時候咧，我就唔覺意咧，就成個跌低咗喺地下度咧，我就整傷咗個膝頭哥。個膝頭哥好痛，流咗好多血喎。咁我翻到屋企嘅時候咧，即係我個小朋友開門俾我喎，佢見到我受傷，佢即刻問我，佢話你做咩啊？你係咪好痛啊？咁樣喎，即係佢即刻表示一個對我嘅關心。咁我就當時見到佢即係一個咁嘅大改變咧，我個痛苦咧都好似冇晒咁樣。同埋我哋嘅對個小朋友咧，其實個小朋友咧即係明白即係父母俾佢嘅愛，佢亦都明白點樣去付出翻佢嘅愛俾對方。
佢哋未必會記得我嘅其實，但係我知道我曾經種過嘅種子係會陪伴佢哋一生咯，所以一切嘅傷心啊，一切嘅辛苦啊，一切嘅唔夠瞓啊，其實我都覺得係好值得，因為我哋改寫咗一個小朋友嘅生命。
I think fostering sometimes it really feels to me like a message of hope into humanity. You see, no matter which walk of life you come from, is at the end of the day is making sure that you can be there for someone else, even at the toughest moment of your life, and knowing that you can count on someone else. I have one regret, and that is I wish I would have done it earlier.
Today, the staff and volunteers of Mother's Choice continue with this same spirit. We believe that everyone has a role to play and everyone can make a difference. We are ordinary people from all walks of life who have seen how one simple act of kindness and courage can change someone's life, and how that can change the world.